All right, you guys, so as you see, we're back with another video. This time, we're doing the foundation stage of the entire new build process. Throughout this process right now, as you see behind me, they're currently doing the rebar, and then we're gonna pass the inspection today, fingers crossed, in order to start actually pouring the foundation tomorrow. And we're gonna let it sit for about a week, and then we can start the framing process. But yeah, man, like I said, the past few weeks have been pretty tumultuous as far as we've had weather delays. A horrible issue popped up as far as with one of my GCs that I had running with the plumbing. I got $4,000 stolen from me pretty much from that project. So I had to cut that guy out the way. And yeah, man, but like I said, this entire process is a learning experience, and I don't really blame anyone except myself. I should be accountable, you know, dot all my I's, cross all my T's for every step of the way. So yeah, over this video, I'll pretty much go over, you know, what to expect as far as with the foundation process, what's coming up next, the budgets, everything that we have going on is pretty much what this video will entail. So yeah, stay tuned. All right, so as you guys see, we're on site. We got the guys out here working, man. Looks like the rebar process, like we're pretty much done. It looks like they've pretty much wrapped up everything. So earlier this week, I was supposed to actually have this one, I would say finished about 2 or 3 days ago, but we had some pretty bad weather the past few weeks. So that kind of delayed, obviously, this. And then we were waiting on passing the underground plumbing inspection. And, you know, just to give you guys a little bit of detail of what kind of happened with that full experience. So we did pass the underground plumbing inspection, but the issue was that how I had the proposal set up with the GC that was running it, he pretty much front-ended all of his profit. And so he needed another draw in order to order materials, which on the initial proposal, the materials were supposed to be purchased with all that money in the deposit. It was not. Needless to say, there was a big feud between us on that one. Things did not end well. He is no longer on this project because of that. So yeah, I think I'm gonna be a little bit more hands-on throughout this entire process and not really delegate, you know, too much out. Obviously, I can't actually do the handyman work, but as much as I can be on site, boots on the ground, I'm gonna be throughout this process, just because so far, man, just delegating stuff off with other people that haven't proven themselves has not worked out for me. So I'm going to, like I said, be a lot more boots on the ground throughout this entire process. But yeah, let's kind of walk throughout the project, see what's going on, see what's next, and yeah. All right, so also I've seen someone say, which is a good point in the comments, that this area did not look like an $800,000 to $1 million home should go in there. If you look to my left right here, you'll see 2 new homes that were just built, obviously on the same street, and those both sold for like, I think, mid-7s. And then further down the street, as you go on, you'll see all types of different $800,000 to $1 million homes on the street. So you brought up a good point, but that's not the case with this exact project. So I did want to touch on that for, you know, everyone kind of interested or curious why I decided to build in this neighborhood specifically. So yeah, I don't truly know too much in total, aside from with the rebar, exactly what we have, you know, but I know obviously it strengthens the concrete whenever it's poured. But yeah, so as you see, they're laying it right now, goes in grids, 4x4s on this process. And then I guess, yeah, they're just pretty much laying it down, get ready for prep work. You see the mats and tarps down and pour tomorrow on that process. Love to see it, love to see all boots on the ground, everyone, all hands working. That way, you know things are being done efficiently and fast, and we're getting closer and closer to that deadline. So like I said, the next phase will be obviously framing for this. Framing should take about roughly 2 weeks. So like I said, we'll pour tomorrow. Fingers crossed we pass inspection. Once we pour the foundation, then we'll be ready for framing and have that whole process and get ready for the rough ends after. So yeah, man, like I said, we're speeding along. I gave myself a 60-day deadline. I think that was roughly about 9 days ago. So I think with the weather delays, we hit about 2 or 3 of those days that were unusable, but hey, it is what it is. So yeah, I think I'll keep you guys updated. I'm gonna try to make this all one video, just so we're not just harping on kind of the same things. So when I catch you guys again, the foundation should be poured, and I'll kind of go over what has happened throughout that timeline or that process and what everything looks like. But as of now, you see the project is being done. We're, like I said, steady moving forward. So that's a great thing. So I'll catch you guys on the next segment of the video. So as the last video, you guys saw the rebar process taking place. Now, as you see behind me, the foundation has been poured, which is obviously a great milestone and achievement of this entire new home build process. So now we sit and wait. We have to let the foundation or the concrete cure and dry for the next few days. Luckily, we live in Texas where it's like 100 degrees every day in the summer. So that should, expedite the process by quite a bit, luckily. So yeah, I think we'll let it sit for about 4 to 5 days, and then we'll begin the framing process later on this week. So yeah, man, like I said, it's definitely just cool to see, everything kind of now really going into motion. Like I said, now we're getting sticks up here in a few days, and the house are really start to, come along pretty rapidly. So I think we had left off where we need to pass inspection. The foundation sub is really good, man. So we passed inspection on the first run, no issues about that. They started literally that next morning with pouring, came out like super early. So yeah, we were able to get that one taken care of pretty quickly. So yeah, as we walk around, you can kind of see everything really start to take shape with the entire process. So like I said, this would be the whole like master area, as far as master bathroom, master bedroom, on pretty much this entire side. You have the living area back here, and then you have the garage area right over here. And you start to see like, obviously different elevations, and that's just what the plans called for, on this. So you drop down here, this will be your garage. We have a 2-car garage. I just need to see it framed up, but I'm not sure if it'll be, if it can truly fit 2 cars or not. I don't know, I'm a little bit skeptical of that. But then as you come back here, you guys will see, again, like I said, this is a living space over here. The dining area, I'll be placed right here. And then as we step foot on this side, we'll see that this is where your patio area is gonna be. Again, we're gonna need to try to maximize backyard space, best way possible. So still gotta kind of brainstorm some ideas of how to really maximize that space. But ultimately, man, like I said, the ball is rolling. We're ready to rock and roll. So I really am like appreciative and thankful for all the help, the support on the YouTube channel, just people in real life, just everything it takes, because it really is a lot, especially on your first new build. And I don't really have like a direct mentor. I kind of like this don't get me wrong, I got people I can rely on, but I'm trying to play it, myself, just so I can learn and absorb all the information, as much as possible, so that, my next project, I can kind of handle it myself and do better each build. So the build process is coming along pretty well. As of today, I think we're like June 8th. So like I said, I want to really, by the end of next month, have some really solid framing and everything kind of roughed in. That way we can kind of pre-list this thing and get it on market for a potential pre-sale on this one. And like I said, take advantage of those summer months, where all the buyers are really looking to move and take home a new home, essentially. So yeah, man, like I said, next will be framing. Oh, and I'll give you guys the pricing of what I paid. Like I said, I want to be as transparent as possible on this entire process. And so to break down the cost, this was like a turnkey project as far as the foundation. So I paid $29,588 plus a $400 permanent fee. So we're looking at like literally right at 30K in total. The slab, I think in total was $22.68 for that. So I can't even think off the top of my head how much that was per square foot, but I think we were at like 13 when we negotiated. I think we were like $12.50 to $13 a square foot in total. I know that's a little bit more than what I would like to pay, and I probably could have cut costs, honestly, but given the fact that I had already done a previous job with this sub or this contractor, I knew that he would get the job done and he would be fast with it. So sometimes you have to pay a little bit more for speed and trust and integrity. Like I said, mentioned in the earlier video, I had already had experience with a contractor that I hadn't used before that kind of walked away with like $4 grand. So this guy, I knew he's proven trustworthy, and look, we're standing here now, the end of his work and the result of it. So sometimes you have to pay a little bit extra for, that ease of mind of knowing things will get done. So to finish up this video, yeah, like I said, we're now done. Foundation is complete. So that's another check mark off the checklist, you know. So that's a great sign of progress, you know, throughout this entire process. You know, is definitely getting now to the vertical stage, which, you know, consists of framing and everything else. Like I said, we'll be starting on that in a few days. So yeah, this entire process, this entire journey, I think should be pretty interesting in seeing how it unfolds throughout these next few weeks, few months. I really want to, like I said, hit that deadline of finishing this one out within the next 60 days or so. So like I said, we'll kind of gauge and see how, you know, align or match up with that entire deadline. And so yeah, this is the home building process, man. There's goods, there's bads, there's everything that comes with it. But, you know, again, it's a rewarding process overall for that. And even with the mistakes that I've made so far, there's nothing I'd take back. I'd still redo this process 100 out of 100 times. And so, yeah, man, if you guys enjoy, then stay tuned for this entire, like I said, home building journey and process. Subscribe, follow, whatever you want to do. Until next time, I'll catch you guys. Peace.